Imagine this. You're a central bank holding billions of dollars in reserves, and then suddenly you're eyeing Bitcoin as the next big thing in your portfolio. It sounds crazy, but that's what's happening right now, because central banks and sovereign funds are diving into cryptocurrencies, and it's actually shaking up the entire financial world. Stick around, because today we're uncovering why the biggest financial institutions in the world are betting big on crypto and what it means for you and the future of money. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a huge shift happening in the world of finance. Central banks and sovereign funds, which are the powerhouses of global finance, are rapidly expanding their crypto reserves. And so you might be thinking, wait, central banks and Bitcoin? Are we sure about that? Well, trust me, this is not the future. It's actually happening right now. So let's break down what's going on and why this is shaking up global markets. Now, before we jump into the details, let's zoom out and just quickly look at the bigger picture. Over the last couple of months, digital currencies like Bitcoin have exploded in value. And no, it's not just this sort of flash in the pan. There are a few key reasons driving this surge. So first, let's talk about the US elections. These results have really fueled this crypto boom. President-elect Donald Trump has been a vocal supporter of cryptocurrencies, consistently voicing his pro-crypto policies and actually advocating for a more relaxed regulatory environment. And so this has created an environment where investors, big and small, are feeling more comfortable about diving into the crypto market. And Bitcoin's price actually skyrocketed by over 150% in 2024 alone. And so that's massive. But what does this mean for sovereign wealth funds and central banks around the world? Here's the thing. As digital currencies continue to rise in value, sovereign wealth funds and central banks are starting to rethink their asset allocation strategies. Historically, these institutions have focused on traditional assets like stocks, bonds, or even precious metals and things like gold. But with crypto's meteoric rise, many are now seeing digital currencies as this kind of new emerging asset class that is actually a hedge against inflation, and it can be used to diversify their portfolios. And if you take Norway's sovereign wealth fund just as an example, this fund has been a leader in the crypto space by investing in crypto-related businesses. And by the end of the first half of 2024, it indirectly owned around 2,400 Bitcoin, which was a significant increase of almost 1,000 Bitcoin since the end of 2023. So they're clearly betting on the future of crypto, but it doesn't stop there. The US government, believe it or not, is sitting on over 200,000 Bitcoin, which is valued at more than $20 billion. And how did they get that? Well, most of it came from criminal investigations. When authorities seize Bitcoin as part of their efforts to track down illegal activities. So the US isn't just holding Bitcoin as a hedge, it's actually part of their law enforcement strategy. So why are so many governments suddenly holding Bitcoin? Well, it all comes down to inflation, because many governments are struggling with rising inflation and limited money supply, whereas Bitcoin, with its fixed supply of 21 million coins, offers a way to actually hedge against inflation, and much like gold has for centuries. And this has led more governments to take a closer look at crypto in general as an asset class and as this kind of new store of value. And much like how gold has traditionally been a safe haven during times of economic uncertainty, Bitcoin is now kind of trying to step into that role, but with one key difference, and that is that Bitcoin is obviously entirely digital, and it's not subject to the whims of central banks and who control the money supply. Well, they can't control Bitcoin. And here's another angle: risk management. Central banks usually hold financial arrangements with other central banks. And it creates kind of counterparty risk, especially when there's political instability. But Bitcoin doesn't rely on central banks or governments to increase its supply. And so, in fact, its decentralized nature actually helps mitigate these third-party risks. And unlike traditional assets, which can be influenced by political events or economic instability in one country or another, Bitcoin actually operates independently, so it reduces this risk that central banks face when they hold traditional currencies or even bonds. But who else is jumping on the bandwagon? Well, you've got countries like the UK and El Salvador that are at the forefront of Bitcoin adoption. The UK currently holds around 61,000 Bitcoin, which is not a small amount. And you've got El Salvador also making headlines when they became the first country to officially adopt Bitcoin as legal tender in 2021. And since then, they've been steadily building their Bitcoin reserves. So what does this all mean for the future of crypto? Well, as more central banks and sovereign funds get involved in digital currencies, the legitimacy and stability of crypto, like Bitcoin, will only grow, and these assets are more likely going to become more integrated into the global financial system. It's going to create this kind of new financial ecosystem where digital currencies have a seat at the table alongside traditional assets. And we're talking about, a big fundamental shift here, because crypto is going to be no longer this sort of thing for tech enthusiasts or retail investors, the average man on the street, but it's actually becoming a core component of institutional portfolios, really, and governments are starting to take notice. So to wrap things up, central banks and sovereign funds are increasing their crypto reserves for a few key reasons. One is to hedge against inflation, two is to diversify their portfolios, and lastly, to reduce the risks associated with traditional financial systems. And with Bitcoin leading the charge here, we're seeing digital currencies being embraced as part of the global financial system's future. So it's a really exciting time for the world of crypto and for us and anyone involved, and I'll be keeping a close eye on how this trend evolves. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends. I'll see you in the next one.